Okay, would you like us to time you? And if you like, I can give you a 1 minute, I can give 2 minute, 1 minute warning. Do you want to be warned at 8
Yeah,
minutes, 6
I
minutes?
was curious, I asked Mr. Hartman about the timing.
Yes.
Will I be cut off at 10 minutes?
We'll let you know that you're done, but you can keep talking. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, well, if you wouldn't mind giving me a 2 minute.
Okay, so when you hit 8 minutes, I'll.
Yes, please.
Okay, you got it.
Hello, my name is Chris Denny, and I happen to be an Eagle Scout from Troop 144. And the reason I bring that in is because of my project is sediment pollution. And I have on the board, sediment pollution is the nation's largest source of water quality problems. And last spring, my Eagle Scout project was to clear out a local stream. And what we did is there was a bunch of trash, debris, fallen trees, leaves, that kind of stuff. We cleared it out. The ideal goal for the project was to make the creek look nicer and flow cleaner for people walking along the walking trail that goes along it. That in turn led me to sign up for the course AP Environmental Science, and I took that last semester with Mr. Mitch Trembicki, and I really enjoyed the course. And a large part of the course content was studying sediment pollution. And I'll jump back to this. So I said the nation's largest source of water quality problems. Something to consider is that 40% of the nation's waterways, so that's streams, lakes, creeks, whatever have you, it's polluted to the point where we can't swim, we can't fish, or we can't ship. And that's all due to sediment pollution. There's lots to talk about, air pollution, global climate change, and what to do about that. But I think almost forgotten is the amount of sediment pollution that goes on in the United States and in many other countries. On the screen I have a picture of a drain pipe putting out muddy water. And what that is, well, I'll go into it in a little bit, but it's basically sediment coming out of a culvert into a stream. So I want to talk to you about the problems of sediment pollution. There's three things that I need to go over. First of all, sediment pollution is non-point source pollution. And you might not know what non-point source pollution is, but non-point source pollution can happen anywhere at any time. For example, you could be washing your car and that soap runs off into the storm sewer. That is non-point source pollution. It's very general, it's very basic. The next thing I want to go over is what is sediment. Sediment in normal defined state is anything that's in the water. Anything that is either floating in the water or at the bottom of the water. Particularly, I'm going to talk about trash as sediment. I'm going to talk about cigarette butts, soda bottles. I'm going to talk about soil as sediment. And soil, there's three parts of soil I'm going to talk about. One is clay, sand, and silt. They're all different types of soil. And it's not necessary to know what they are, but I'll go into it a little bit. And the last, so that leads us to, so we have sediment as trash, sediment as soil, or anything that's in the water. So what is sediment pollution? Sediment pollution is any of that debris running off that erodes into our waterways, into our streams, and into our creeks. Some of the impacts of sediment pollution are really substantial. I have here this picture. It shows a healthy stream and a sediment polluted stream. The green is the water and the blue is the water there. So in the healthy stream, a few things you should take into consideration. First is that the sunlight comes right down from the stream and it gets the aquatic plants and the marine life. The next thing is the rocks are visible in this, in that there's animals like that snail living on it, there's crayfish, there's probably fish eggs there and other mosses growing there. Now we move down to our polluted stream. In our sediment polluted stream, we have clay and other soil particles, specifically clay and silt, suspended in the water. And then on the bottom, what's known as the bed load is covering up the rocks and plant life. The bed load is the bigger objects such as trash, rocks, sticks that have become waterlogged. They could even be sand particles in dirt. The sand is heavier and it sinks down to the bottom. So between the bed load and what I'm going to call the sediment cloud suspended in the water, does a few different things. The first thing is the sediment cloud blocks photosynthesis, so the light cannot get down to the plants, and that kills off the plants. The second thing the sediment cloud does is that it gets in the fish's gills, and they cannot respirate anymore. So we have plants dying and we have animals dying. Between the two of them, the decomposers come in and decompose the once living organic matter, now dead organic matter, and it builds up in the bottom of the stream. The other thing the decomposers do is they suck a lot of dissolved oxygen within the water. So what we have now is we have a shallow stream with little dissolved oxygen for any other aquatic life. The next thing we're going to talk about is the bed load. The bed load comes in the stream and it can do a few different things. One is it can just cover up what is on the bottom. You don't have any water, any living space, then you can't live there anymore, so it destroys habitat. It also can cover up things like fish eggs, other plants, other smaller animals that can't escape, such as in a storm when there's a lot of sediment pollution coming down and it really has a high bed load level and a high velocity tumbling down the stream that will actually kill aquatic life. So the next impact I want to talk about is the economy. The Congress puts together $6 billion every year just to control sediment within the United States. That's, to me, a really lot of money. I am going to have to pay $15,000 to go to school next year, but to think of coming up with $6 billion to control dirt and trash that got in my creek in the backyard, that's a lot. So $6 billion a year is affecting our economy. The other effect on the economy is, as I said, the bottom will start to build up with either trash or debris or dead organic matter. And because of that, some of our shipping lanes, such as the Chesapeake Bay, it's well known as a shallow bay that's polluted. And one of the problems is sediment pollution. As the sediment pollution builds up, the shipping lanes have to be dredged, which costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time in order to keep our shipping lanes open. And the last impact is human interaction. I think this one hits home pretty much the best because we pull a lot of our drinking water, maybe not so much around here where we have reservoirs, but in other parts of the United States and other parts of Pennsylvania, a lot of drinking water comes directly from the stream. If it's too polluted with sediment, it can no longer be taken from the stream, and they don't have proper filters, and you just have to wait until there's clean enough water. The next thing is fishing. It impacts fishing. If we kill the fish, there's no fish to fish. And the last smaller impact, well, many people probably don't swim in creeks and bays and lakes as much as they may have used to. I still do, and I know a lot of people that do, and when we see our stream banks eroded so much that the bottom fills up and it becomes wide and shallow, it really hurts the swimming area and destroys any swimming ponds.